welcome to another brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. So as you can see, it's snowing. It's a snow day, but we're still busy outdoors on the farm. We've got to get this manure from this pit and the other pit moved over to the actual manure pit here. And sorry, completely, my mind just went, what do you call that? Just like, yeah, over to this manure pit, and then, or holding area, storage, whatever you want to call it. And we get this over here, and then we'll go and do the other, the same with the other one. But with the other one, we will use a trailer for that, because obviously we don't want to just be driving around one sort of load at a time. This one's not so bad to do this one, but yeah, as I say, and then we'll get that done, and then we've got to feed the animals as well, and then we'll see where we're at with our day after that. But yeah, so I hope you're doing well. Do you know what? I've done a few loads now. I've not caught that bloody wall once. It's all, I tell you, like, honestly, I play this game, you know, just when I'm sort of just sitting here chilling out, you know, to my music, or, you know, I'm just chilling out, I'm just, you know, having a good old time, and I don't drive into things once. As soon as the camera comes on, it's like, it's just the gateway to, yay, you know, we must get James to drive into everything, so that when he's on YouTube he looks like a complete moron. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, it does my head in. It's like every time, you know, I start sort of, you know, I sort of think, I wasn't doing this a minute ago. So anyway, we'll have to do it the easy way, so that we can't really drive into anything. But yeah, so in the last episode we were obviously we were obviously silage harvesting the grass field over the way, and we got that done. So I did the rest of that off camera. There wasn't that much more to do really. I think about another half hour or so. So there wasn't really that much left to do, and we got that done. We got it in the pit, and we've got it fermenting now. So it's all wrapped. So yeah, that's all done, and as I say, that's gonna do really well for the winter for the cows, because they do eat a lot of silage. You know, once that silage goes in, it's amazing how quickly it feels to me, and I'm sure this perhaps isn't the case, but it feels to me like they get through the silage quicker than what they get through the hay bales. I don't know whether that's a thing or not. You know, I just don't know. But it's that's how it feels. They just seem to consume the silage, you know, way quicker than you know, the hay. But I don't know. You know, it's probably not a thing, but it just feels like that. So yeah, so once we get these emptied, then we'll get the bucket off, and then we will get the forklift on, the spikes on, and then we'll get the cows fed. Let's say the silage won't be ready for a little while yet, and we'll get that done, and we will be on our way. We will be, you know, sort of getting near to hopefully getting some more trees done. So the plan is possibly in the next episode to get the trees up yonder that we did last winter, get some more of them done, and then we will it's okay, I keep sort of almost pausing and stopping, because sitting outside my house at the moment, there's 5 police cars, 2 ambulances and a fire engine. and I'm not really sure why. As far as I can tell, everyone looks safe and pretty well. So yeah, that was why I got distracted. It was kind of like, ooh, what's going on out there? I turned into Mrs. Miggins twitching through her curtains. But yeah, so as I say, we'll get then the cows fed, and then we'll be well on our way. So yeah, it's a productive time of year for the cows, really, because you know, we've got no field work to sort of do, and we can just sort of concentrate on these wee fellas, and you know, get them to the place where we sort of need them to be, get that feed trough, you know, nicely filled up and what have you, and you know, from there we can then be ready for you know, next year when you know, the land and field work starts again. It soon comes, like I say, you know, the farming year, it don't half get rid of the actual years, really. I used to find that on the farm, you know, winter would sort of go quite slow. There wouldn't be that much to do. You'd be, you know, sort of, if I was lucky, I'd be ploughing, or you know, I'd be out on the frosts. If there was, you know, if it was a sort of fairly sharp winter where there was lots of frosts, you know, I'd be out. I usually tend to sort of, if they were really severe, I'd work overnight. So I'd work on the frosts, and then when in the daytime, then when the sort of, you know, it wouldn't always necessarily melt off, but you know, it would become a little bit softer. So then what I would do is you know, obviously go home and then go back to work again, sort of that night. You know, and I could be doing anything in the winter on the frosts, from you know, cultivating, ploughing, subsoiling. Didn't do all that much subsoiling on the frosts, but you know, we did do it, especially if like, if we'd had like sort of wet weather and we were harvesting potatoes or sugar beet or whatever, then you know, I could well be subsoiling and just sort of breaking up the mess that they, you know, that the harvesters and the tractors and trailers had sort of made. But I mean, if it got too wet, so they would then use bunker trailers, so that you only had one set, or if we had two harvesters in that field, we'd have two overloaders in the field, and then all of the tractors and trailers would just line up on the end of the field, and then they would just keep going back and you know, unloading into those trailers to try and limit the damage to the fields. But not always. I mean, you know, they, the overloaders they would hire in, we didn't have them on the farm sort of at our disposal. We'd hire them in just because it wasn't that often that we did that. But yeah, as I say, you know, I'd be sort of subsoiling or ploughing, or you know, whatever, really, whatever job was needed to be done. And then obviously through December into January, you know, February, I would then sort of go on to the carrot team, you know, and sort of drive the just drive the tractor and trailer. And again, if it was exceptionally wet, we would again have an overloader. And then if we were using the overloader, that meant we could load the lorries on the side of the road, because it was you know, sort of overnight, there wasn't that much traffic, so I'd be able to load the lorries on the side of the road, and then we'd take them in lorries. But if it wasn't wet, we would just use tractors and trailers, especially if we weren't that far from sort of what we used to call the factory farm. So on the factory farm, we had two factories there that were able to deal with like cauliflowers, broccoli, sort of all of you know, that type of veg. And then you would have we had a potato factory, one of two, but only one on that particular site that I'm thinking of. And then we had another factory where we would then do like so you'd then sort of do things like carrots, parsnips, you know, Brussels sprouts. That was done there. I mean, once we got the carrots harvested, or if you know, if needs must, you know, we would harvest the Brussels and the carrots at the same time. But usually 9 times out of 10 it was we would get the carrots harvested, and then we would move straight on to Brussels sprouts, and then we'd do that. And then once that job had got we were getting on top of that job, and let's say if it was frosty, then I would start going in behind those harvesters and subsoiling, cultivating, or ploughing, or usually ploughing. If they've made a mess, the only thing to do is subsoil it and then plough it, plough it sort of nice and deep, and sort of get as much drainage and air into the land as you can, and then just leave it to overwinter, and then it would be sort of nice and ready then for spring drilling. Some fields, if you harvested them and they were exceptionally wet, they would be left fallow for the year, and we would wait until the sun had baked them, and then we would then wait for like a really good sort of nice heavy rain, usually sort of late summer, early autumn time, then subsoil it and then plough it, level it off, and then I say usually a first wheat would go in there, then depending on what the rotation was around the areas, because I've said before, the farm drilled and planted everything in blocks, so you were never moving all that far from field to field when you were harvesting carrots or whatever. They would all be, so each sort of area that we farmed was divided up into blocks, and then, so for example, if we were to grow 350 acres of carrots, and we had a block that was 350 acres, pretty much all that block would be carrots, and you would just move around that sort of block where the land was, and then I mean, you had some blocks that through soil type, or maybe some blocks through location. So we had quite a few fields that were, so the farm itself used to get itself into a little bit of bother with local planning, because councils or sort of housing development companies would go to the farm and say, oh, we want to buy that field because we want to put a housing estate there, or we want to do this, and the farm would be like, well, okay, fine. Every field they ever wanted was always a very productive field, and they used to sort of say, give us 50 million and you can have the field, and they used to sort of say, well, no, we valued it at so and so, we'll allow you to take the crop off, so that's fine, you can take your crop off, we won't stand no soil or nothing in the field until the crop is removed, so that we don't, but we think realistically 100,000 should buy, if it was like one field or a block of fields or whatever, but however much it would be. And the farmer used to go, no, you can give us 50 million and then we'll give you the field. Because what used to happen was that obviously they, a bit of a stalemate would then come through. Then they would be like a statutory right to purchase order put against the farm. The farm would then fight that. Well, of course, the whole time this was happening, years were passing and they were still farming the land, and they'd sort of, they didn't object to, so if we had a field in an area, and then say another farm had two fields either side, or one in front, or do you know what I mean? Like, they didn't object to them building on their fields. They used to say it's their fields, they do what they like with it. If they'd told us the land was available to buy, we would have bought it off them. But if they want to put houses on there, they want to put houses on there. It's their field, they their land, they do what they like with it. But yeah, so what tended to happen was we had quite a few fields in and around sort of the Wisbech area where housing estates were built round the field, and they literally left us a really sort of narrow entrance into the field, and I do mean really narrow, because the whole point was try and get us to sort of say, well, actually we now can't get none of our machinery in there, and you might as well buy the field, and oh yeah, well, I suppose now it's you can buy it for a lot less than what we originally wanted to sell it for. But so yeah, at times it was a bit tricky and awkward, and because it meant that sometimes, you know, fields with sort of narrow gateways like that, you know, you couldn't get, you know, 2 Lexians down there because there was nowhere, you know. Or sometimes, you know, if it was wide enough to get the combine and the headers down and the header traders down, you know, with the combines, then you know, maybe you sort of would, you know, get them into the field, and you just accept that you would lose, you know, part of the field. I mean, if it was a big field, you just put a margin on one end, and you know, sort of no real harm done, you know, to anything, sort of thing. I'm looking for my other tractor. Ah, there it is. Yeah, you know, so you know, sort of no harm done, but yeah, there were a few fields that we had that you just, as I say, you just couldn't get, you know, you couldn't really get anything down to them. So those fields tended to have, you know, sort of either, you know, maybe grass in them or whatever. Because I mean, obviously they had the dairy, so you know, or it sometimes it would be, you know, you sometimes the farm would put like smelly crops in the fields, you know, and yeah, sort of make it quite, you know, sort of. And the thing was, I used to say to them, yeah, but it's not the people that live in these houses' fault; it's the people that built them. And they're like, yeah, well, you know, if we can get everyone to move out, we can buy the land back and knock the houses down. But obviously that, you know, that was never a thing. But yeah, so we, you know, there were ways around it, and you know, we used to sort of, as I say, we used to sort of do stuff, and you know, the farm used to manage and cope, and pretty much all the fields still had a crop of some sort in it. You know, whether it be sort of cauliflowers or you know, cabbages or lettuces or you know whatever. You know, I think one particular field we fenced, and our you know, sort of beef stock used to go out in the field. We had sheep in there, um, you know. So I mean, you know, there was always a use for the fields if you couldn't get, you know, the machinery in. But you know, why have I taken that trailer off for? I want that bloody tractor on the trailer. So yesterday I was having one of those days where I was just like doing really silly things all the time. I was like, "What's the matter with you? Like, you know, you need to buck up a little bit, mate." So, right, today is going to be the day that I actually get the new phone out of the box and I actually take a look at it, and because I've put it off, right, and I've put it off, right, and it's going to sound silly, right? So I love my computer. I can operate my computer more than sort of sufficiently enough to be able to do all of the things that I want to do on it, i.e. record my videos, make my videos, upload them to YouTube, and do some internet searching, do some farm sim downloading with mods and stuff like that, and my writing. Obviously, you know, I do my writing on there as well. So, and I'm quite happy with that, right? I'm quite happy with that, right? So, but I kind of said in December, January time, February maybe, that I wanted to get out and I wanted to do things, right? 'Cause as everyone knows, I'm my own now. Don't get out as much as what I used to when I was with my ex, although we never went out that much because she just wanted to sit in and bloody do nothing every day. But when we did go out, we went out, right? We, you know, we proper went out sort of thing. And I thought, oh, I'd like to get back to that. You know, I like going out. I enjoy a good day out. You know, and I know last week's day out that I had resulted in me getting a touch of food poisoning, I think, from what I had for lunch. But you know, on the whole, I like going out, right? So I thought, you know, and I was sort of kind of, you know, saying to my brother and what have you know, this is what I want to do. And he said to me, you know, you'd have to get a phone and record it, put it on YouTube. So I was like, well, you know, probably I could do, I suppose. I said, like, I don't really see no reason why I can't, you know, why not, sort of thing. So that's what I did. Got a phone, and well, it'd be 2 weeks Thursday when I got the phone. And it's literally sat in the box. I got the phone, so I ordered it on Thursday, it arrived on the Friday. Went into the local Tesco's and ordered the phone, and as I say, it came on the Friday. And I'm all signed up, so I've got unlimited everything. Not really sure what all that means, but I've got unlimited everything for £10 a month, and obviously then that includes the no, it doesn't. So £10 a month unlimited is the actual sort of network, the sort of what I'm paying for the data and stuff, I think. And then I've obviously got the insurance that I took out on the phone as well. The phone, through sort of basically making myself skin, I've sort of bought that outright, just because I thought, I don't really want to be paying an excessive amount each month. £10 is more than acceptable, because that was what I was putting up on pay as you go. So I was putting about £10 a month on, so I sort of thought, I want to spend about £10 a month. And when, as I say, my brother came to me and said, well, I work at Tesco's, you could get you could get unlimited everything for £10 a month, with me, if I go with you and sign you up, you can do that. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, then we'll do that. And went and got it. Anyway, got the phone, it's in the box. It's not really been, I've taken it out of the box once to have a look at it, and it is a very nice, as nice as phones can be. I'm not really into phones, as you can kind of imagine, kind of guess. Now, there's a few reasons why I'm not into phones, and I didn't really have a problem with them until I got with the ex that I've just about a year ago I split up from. Now, I was in a long-term relationship before that, and myself and that partner, we had phones, and the phones were there for ringing and texting, and she had Facebook on hers, and she had a few other little bits and pieces on hers. But if we went out, the phone stayed in the handbag or whatever. If we were in a restaurant, for example, we wouldn't be sat there and she'd get the phone out and then just sit and ignore me, while she was on Facebook and chatting with friends. When we went out, and the phone would stay away, unless it was needed for something, but otherwise the phone would stay away, and we would enjoy a day out or a night out or whatever it was. Whereas when I got with when that relationship ended, got with the new girl, and or woman, because she was older than me, and of course, sort of like second date. Well, even on the day that we met, so we decided to meet at the seaside, right? And there's nothing wrong with meeting, at the seaside, and we decided that was what we was going to sort of do, and we met up, and we sort of went and had a coffee, and we sort of started chatting and what have you. And even while and I should have taken my cue from this, right? But I suppose on that, sort of at that particular time, I was kind of like, well, it's the modern world, you're gonna have to get used to it, right? So she would, whether it be a friend or whatever, would or it pinged for Facebook, notifications, or whatever it was. And I sort of sat there and I thought, it's a little bit rude, I gotta be honest. I was thinking, like, we're sort of trying to make an impression with each other, and the impression I get is that I'm okay when you've got no one else. That's the instant sort of kind of impression I'm getting, right? And my head's going, you're reading way too much into this. This is modern life. This is what people do, you know. You've got to get out of bloody 1960, granddad, and move up to, you know, the present day sort of thing. So I was like, okay, I can overlook it. And then, like I say, eventually we got into a you know, sort of a more proper relationship, and you know, we were sort of spending more and more and more time with with each other. And every time we went out, we'd be sat in restaurants, we'd be sat, you know, wherever, and she'd be just on her phone. And I remember saying to her one night when we was out, I said, I am here, you know. And she sort of looked at me and she went, yeah, I know. So I said, you know, I said, I can't help but feel you should have gone out for a night out with the people on your phone and not me. I said, like, because it feels like you kind of want to spend like your free time with them. She was like, shut up. And I said, well, no. I said, like, you know, we're out together. I said, like, and you're chatting to God knows whoever. I said, and like, I'm just sitting here like a bloody great lemon. She goes, well, you haven't got a phone. I said, no, funnily enough, I said, I've got an actual person sat actually in front of me that I could have an actual conversation with. I said, like, you know, I said, call me old fashioned. And my belief has long, you know, sort of been, even before that, that phones and social media have kind of ruined society in the sense of no one bloody talks anymore. Like, you know, no one bloody talks anymore. It's like, you know, whereas when I go out, you know, I'm with the person, and you know, it's like, and that's how it is. So the phone is kind of stuck because I don't want to become one of them, right? I don't want to become one of these people that goes somewhere and then spends the whole entire time on the phone. I'm a bit worried that that's what's going to become of me, and I don't want that. It's not that I'm, you know, sort of snobbish to it or, you know, anything like that. I'm not, you know, but I quite like the fact that, yes, I do find, you know, sort of making friends quite hard, and you know, I don't have too many friends. I think mainly because of, you know, sort of views like that, because it used to wind her up when I used to sort of say, and she used to say, well, if you don't like it, go, you know. And one night I did, on a very rare occasion, I actually drove to the restaurant. Oh, that's never happened before. Is that because that's underground? Have I got to lift that up? Yes, I've got to lift that up. That's never happened before. Right, so yeah, so I actually drove, and I was you know, having a similar type conversation, and in the end she went, well, if you don't like it, just go. So I did. Just got up and went home, and she was ringing me. Where are you? I said, I'm going home. I said, like, you know, I said, you said if I don't like it, go. I said, which clearly sort of kind of says to me, I'm not, you know, doing nothing no different. I'm not changing, blah, 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 you know, so therefore you're going to have to sort of go. I need to turn the interactive marker zones on, because I don't know where the, there it is. I can never remember if it's that end or this end. But yeah, so as I say, I've kind of left the phone in the box, because I don't, you know, yes, you know, I need them. I accept that they're, you know, a massive part of modern day life, and I think they're really brilliant as well, you know. But my brother was sort of saying, you know, well, when you go out, you know, you can record, you know, you don't have to use your phone for all of that sort of stuff if you don't want to, but you could record, you know, you could do, you know, vlogs, and you know, of your days out, and you know, he said, like, and he said, I'm not being funny, he said, but you go to pretty interesting places out. He said, like, they, you know, he said, I would find them quite boring, but he said they are quite interesting days out, like the Imperial War Museum, and you know, sort of different things that you said you wanted to go to this year, the Tower of London, and you know, stuff like that. He said, like, you know, he said there'll be a lot of people that would be very interested in you know, in that. So he said, like, you know, I think you should get a phone, record it, you know. He said, not only that as well, he said, you're not that sort of confident of a driver. So I said, no. So he said, you know, the phone would have sat nav, you know, the phone would be able to get you there or home, no problem at all, you know, and different things. So I sort of started to kind of like, hang on a minute, yeah, okay, so there's another side to these phones that actually suit my way of life, you know. So I thought, well, I better do it anyway. As I say, the phone has not left the box, apart from me having a little look at it. I have to do it this way. I do apologise, but the trigger's inside the trough, and obviously I can't back this into there because it's too big. So yeah, so as I say, like, so I've sort of, you know, got the, but it's going to have to come out of the box today because I want to go out Sunday. So I want to go to Hensford, which is near Birmingham, or the other side of Birmingham. And I was like looking at the route last night, and it was like M6, and I'm like, I don't want to go on a motorway. You know, I'm not confident of that. But then I found some really cool features. As like, you know, right, okay, you could actually select, you know, avoid motorways, avoid toll roads, avoid, you know, blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, this will do me. I want to go via the country. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to travel an extra sort of, like, you know, hour, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, because I want to avoid all the major roads. But no, apparently I'm going to be driving for an extra 20 minutes. So I was like, yeah, well, okay, fair enough. So yeah, the phone is going to come out today, and so don't be surprised within the next few days to / week, you know, once I've kind of got used to it and everything, that there isn't a small video put up with my mug in it. And as I've said to you before, it's a face that suits radio very, very nicely. Not so good on TV. But I have had a haircut, which is very important. I have had a haircut. So yeah, so don't be surprised, as I say, if there's a video where I just kind of sort of reintroduce myself, but with an actual face. So the plan is also, as well, in the future, to get a webcam and actually have my face on the actual videos that I do, because a lot of people have been saying to me, oh, you know, you need to make it faceless. Like, I love listening to your stories, I love listening to your talk. It'd be brilliant if your face was on the screen, though, you know, so, you know, you feel a little bit more connected. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm not really sure I want to do that, if I'm honest, but yeah, all right, you know, if it helps, you know, sort of kind of thing. And so yeah, that's what we're going to do. But I have to admit, as I say, the reason why the phone as of yet hasn't sort of come out is, you know, sort of the two reasons is, one, I don't want to become one of these people that, because, you know, my little brother's gone, oh, once you've started using it, you'll never stop, you'll be on it all the time. And I think I don't want to be on it all the time. You know, that wasn't the dream you sold me. You know, so I was kind of like, you know, sort of thinking to myself, oh, I don't want to, you know, I don't want it to be like that, you know. And but the other reason is, to be honest with you, I do find it a little bit intimidating in a way. I'm sort of, like I say, I'm not really very good with technology, you know, and I've said before, you know, the reason sort of I don't understand, and I find sort of things to understand and to get and to sort of be able to do, because when I was younger I had a stroke. It's, I don't know, and the hospital have said, like, it's a thing, because I've sort of said, you know, I said, it's like, I understand what people are telling me without actually understanding what people are telling me. I said, it's like, I can hear them and their words make sense, and, you know, their instructions make sense, but I can't then compute that to me doing it. It's like, I can read, understand, but then I can't actually do. I said, it's a bit like, I said, you know, to give you some sort of idea, I can see the picture in my head, I just can't draw it. I said, like, that's literally how it is. I said, I can understand it, I can see it, but I just can't draw it, you know. And it's the same with, like, putting furniture together. I see the instructions, I can understand the instructions, I just can't get my brain to then translate what I've read and understood on, you know, into actually doing it. And as I say, I do find sort of things like, you know, mobile phones, especially like the modern ones. I mean, the one I'm using at the moment, you know, which literally does just ring and text. There is internet on it, but I just don't use it. It was like I think it was about 40 quid the phone was. You know, there's a camera on it, but it's an okay camera, but it's not that great, and the phone doesn't have a great deal of memory either as well, because I was sort of a little while ago when I went racing, I was doing a sort of a little video because I thought, I'll be able to put this on YouTube. And I literally was like sort of about 5 minutes into the video, and it was like, memory capacity or storage exceeded, or words to that effect. I can't remember exactly what it said, but so I thought, okay, can't do that then, unless it's about a minute and a half long. But yeah, so as I say, today is the day that it's got to come out, because I've got to get kind of using it and used to it, because let's say Sunday I want to go to Hensford. I want to go racing. So the plan is, at the moment, we go racing Saturday. Saturday's fine because that's my local track. I've been there a million times. Don't need a sat nav for that. So that might be when I might actually do a bit of recording. I might actually, because I'm sort of not too worried about the phone battery dying, or I don't need the sat nav, and I don't, I can sort of, do a vlog. I don't know whether to just have me talking and sort of the camera pointing out in the front window, at the front windscreen, and so that you get to sort of kind of see the area I live in, and sort of different things like that. So I don't know whether to do that, or whether to just have it pointed at me while I'm driving and sort of do a do a video that way. I'm not sure. The reason why I'm not so keen on maybe doing it that way is because I think I will be too tempted to keep looking at the phone, to make sure that I'm at the best angle. You know what I'm saying? So as I have it pointing out, so as it's looking where I'm going, I'm not going to be looking at the phone, sort of, because there's no point, because I won't be able to see, the camera won't see me anyway, and that's grand. So, but yeah, so hopefully, as I say, the weekend, there might well be so it'll be the weekend that's just passed for you now watching this, because I'm obviously a week ahead in terms of recording of where I'm actually at, and that gives me enough leeway then, that if stuff pops up in the week, that I can then do and I'm still in front, and so therefore it's not then desperate that I've got to sort of record and do a video all in one day, to get it up for that day as well. So that that's why I sort of do it the way that I do it. But yeah, so it looks as if the phone's going to come, but I say if it does and I get on okay with it, and I'm able to sort of use it properly, like say when I go to like Duxford, which is a big air museum, not only civilian air museum but also a war museum as well, from the First, Second World War, from the Cold War, although we never actually saw battle in the Cold War, so to speak, in terms of a military operation. And then the Falklands War, and stuff like that, and then sort of like the Iraq War. So there's sort of military planes and stuff from all of those things, as well as actual civilian aviation planes as well. Concorde's there, or it was when I went as a kid. I don't know if it's still there now. I've been for about getting on for about 35 years. But yeah, so as I say, but they have big. I think there's an A380 there. There's a 747 that you can go on and look around and different things. So there's sort of kind of lots for us to be able to look at and to sort of do, and we can go around and do the talk. There's another aviation museum not that far from. Well, there's actually two more I can think of. One's not too far from where I'm going on Sunday, and the other one's in Norwich. So we'll be able to do that as well, and they're all different. So the one in Norwich is sort of kind of through the years of aviation. It's not that big, to be fair. It's a fairly small museum, but it's still it's good to amuse a morning. I mean, when we went a a few years ago, my ex that I broke up with last year, she took me the year before for my birthday, because I'm obviously into aviation and stuff. So hopefully as well this year I might be able to do some footage from like Heathrow. I know, you know, some of these things are not going to appeal to everyone, but then there's going to be farming related you know, videos as well, where we're going to go to the Royal Norfolk. You know, we're going to go to, as I say, the Royal Norfolk. We're going to you know, do we've got the farm that I'm going to, so on June 25th, on which is a Wednesday, I'm going to farm in, well, it's in Cambridgeshire, but they've got farms in Lincolnshire, Bedfordshire, and Cambridgeshire. But I'm going to the main farm in Cambridgeshire, and which is actually in near Cambridge itself. It's only a few miles from Cambridge. So I'm going there, where we're going to get a talk and a guide around the farm and around everything they do, around the machinery, and we're also going to get some demonstrations that they've sort of kind of organised and sort of sorted out, and I think that's going to be really good. I'm hoping as well to be able to go to the David Brown Museum, which is in Huddersfield, which apparently is where the first David Brown in this country was made, and where the guy David Brown was originally from. You know, because obviously the tractor is named after him. So David Brown was actually from, I think, the Huddersfield sort of Leeds area, and he had a factory there, and the factory is now the museum to David Brown. I'd also like to do Muckleborough and hopefully do the tank ride. So there's a tank ride that you can do. Now, obviously, I have spoken to them about it. And they're kind of okay for me to, yeah, you know, for them to get the tank out and do the, you know, the tank experience, so to speak. However, they're a little bit sort of less keen because, you know, they sort of said, have you got any illnesses that we might need to know about? And I was like, well, I've got quite a serious heart condition. And they're like, ah. So I think there's going to be quite a few waivers being signed. And if I tell you, you know, sort of on the Monday that I'm doing that the following Sunday, and then you don't get a video on the Monday, it's safe to assume what's happened. I was killed in peacetime Britain in action. But yeah, so hopefully we're going to do that as well. So I'd say hopefully that's going to become a thing, and we'll be able to do that. And yeah, so there's just loads of things and places that I want to go. I want to go to the Space Centre, and I think it would be nice to show you around there, and just sort of kind of do just general, you know, sort of things, and then, you know, more videos of me driving around. We'll do some, you know, actual farming videos where the tractors are out in the fields. So I know quite a few, obviously, local farms that are going to give me, you know, sort of access into the fields and be able to, you know, record the tractors. Well, at least I'm assuming they'll let me, unless they, you know, sort of, it turns out that actually no one likes me. But I'm fairly certain they'll let me into the fields, you know, and we may even be able to get, you know, some rides on, you know, some tractors and that, and you know, get to see inside and, you know, get the operator's sort of view, if you like. But yeah, so that, you know, there's sort of lots to be done, you know, and while all that's going on, you know, farming sim's not going to be taking a back seat. I'm not going to say that you'll get a farming sim video every day now. You know, if all of that does happen, I mean, at the moment you will, you know, but why on earth has that bale stayed in the air? Because I don't actually take that off in there. Oh, okay. It's because that's full. Well, that's good. Alright, we'll go get the other ones sorted now. We could have left those hay bales out, actually, because we need to do the other ones. So, as I say, we've got lots to hopefully look forward to, things that are a little bit different. Now, another thing that I kind of needed to sort of ask is, now, most of you all know that I occasionally, every now and again, talk about, you know, sort of, I've forgotten what I was going to say, which doesn't help. It's one of those, it came in, I was like, oh yeah, I needed to ask that, and then it was kind of like, bye! Now I've made you look a prat, bye! It's like, darn it, what was it? I can't remember, but if I do remember, I will, and you know what, I just can't think what it was. And just as a quick update, so we now have 2 police cars, 1 ambulances, 1 fire engine, and looks like a paramedic car. I can't quite see from here outside the window, so Lord knows what's going on. It's a fairly quiet village that I live in. Every 10 years or so, someone goes nuts with a shotgun or whatever. You know, it was a few years ago, about 20 years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, a guy by the name of Barry Horspool. Look it up. We was in the local papers. We were on the national news. In actual fact, to be fair, you know, it was quite sort of surprising that you know, this very likable man, you know, kept himself very much to himself. I know people always say that, but he was like a recluse. You rarely ever saw him. And then just one day he decided to go absolutely bloody nuts with a shotgun. Just like kind of like turned it into, you know, a high street in Iraq, you know, and it was kind of like, Christ, what set him off, you know, and well, I mean, it turned out what set him off. Now, you see, I don't think he went about his appeal in quite the right way. So, in the village, we don't have it now, but up until sort of just before Christmas, we had a gun shop in the village, obviously, where you could go and get your guns and whatever else, right? Obviously, you needed a license, and you needed to be tested, and you need to be there, you know, because it's the UK, right? And he'd gone to, his license was up, he had a shotgun, and his license was up because, you know, I don't know why he had a shotgun, like I say, because you very rarely ever see him out. I mean, he used to work on one of the local farms, so when I was a little kid, I sometimes used to like get, if he was working in and around where I was sort of growing up, you know, I'd get a ride on the farm, on the tractor with him, like, you know. So not very often, only I can like only a couple of times, you know. It wasn't sort of a regular thing, but you know, pretty much if anyone was on tractors around where I was living, and you know, Mum sort of didn't object to me walking down the road to, you know, go and have a look at them or have a ride or whatever, or ask if I could have a ride, you know, I would pretty much ride on the tractors. And anyway, and so, you know, I sort of knew him well, knew his daughter very well, went to school with his daughter, knew his daughter outside of you know, of school and in the village, you know, had a bit of a fling with her, enough said. And you know, so yeah, very nice sort of kind of family. And yeah, he decided that he was, as I say, he went to his gun license was up for renewal, and he went to the gun shop to, you know, get his papers, or I mean, I don't know how it works. You know, I've never owned a gun in my life, but I'm assuming you go there and you have to, you know, whatever happens. But anyway, the story goes that he'd been really depressed. He'd been diagnosed as like clinically depressed, and the gun shop on this basis refused him a license, but said to him, "You have the right to appeal." All right. Now, I don't think they meant just start shooting people to prove how good your aim is. You know, I mean, it's only an inkling, but I'm pretty certain that's not what they meant. You know, I mean, you know, I'm a little bit thick, I know this, but you know, that's my sort of take on it. I don't think that was an open invitation. So he's gone a bit nuts with the shotgun, right? And up until the police come in, he hasn't killed anybody, right? He hasn't shot anybody. He's just threatened it, right? it was his wife that he basically, you know, he was sort of really shouting about it. I'm going to shoot my wife. I'm going to shoot my wife. And of course, you know, whoops, what the hell happened there? And of course, you know, people got a little bit kind of like, you know, that's probably not a good thing. We better ring the police. Anyway, I'm outside that day, right? I'm outside in my garden, right? Same house where I grew up as a kid, right? And got me girlfriend at the time on the phone. Yeah, oh, you should come round. You know, I'm coming round. I said, I'll get ready and then I'm coming round. I said, okay. So I'm outside, as I say. I was helping my dad actually, and we were chopping firewood for the winter, and also moved because it was, I think it was about September when it was September, October time. We were chopping firewood for the winter, and we were moving bricks and rubble and God knows what. You know, we were sort of proper busy outside, and you know, and all of a sudden this helicopter flies overhead, and sort of, you know, we look up, and my dad says, "Oh, my eyes are not so good, boy. What's that?" I said, "It's a helicopter, Dad." He said, "I can see it's a helicopter." He said, "Is it like police, ambulance? What is it?" So I was, because you know, helicopters are a thing you never see in St James. You never see them, right, ever. And or certainly where I live, you know, deep out on the outskirts. So I live about sort of four or so miles from St James, and so you never, you know, you don't even see an ambulance. You know, I mean, now as I record this now, we've moved. I live in the village now. And you know, you see ambulances and stuff sort of sporadically, you know. But anyway, so oh, it's a police helicopter. I wonder what that's doing out here. So I was, I don't know, it's perhaps just training or something. So he's like, yeah. Anyway, it was circling. So you know, my dad sort of said, I don't know. He says, you know, is he watching us? So I said, I don't know. I said, give him a wave. I said, and see whether, like, you know. I said, it is us. And anyway, next thing you know, a police car comes round. And he says, would you two chaps mind going in? So he's like, going in where? So he said, well, indoors. So I said, why? So he said, well, because I'm asking you to. I said, without probable cause. I said, well, without probable reason. I said, not really. I said, because we're busy. So he said, look, I can't say too much. He said, but we've got an incident in you know, not too far from here, and it's very much safer for you if you go indoors. So we was like, okay, fair enough. There's a helicopter, but you know, yeah, all right, they're probably not messing about, you know. So we goes indoors anyway. Turns on the local news. This was, so it was about 11 o'clock when the copper sort of come round and told us to go in. So it was about 11 o'clock in the morning, right? So we've sort of gone in, we'll have a cup of tea, you know, and Dad's like, oh, we'll have some dinner, this will all blow over, we can get back outside and crack on. Yeah, all right, fair enough, it sounds like a plan, right? Turn on the local news, because we like bargaining on, you know, at dinner times. But back then, the news came on before bargaining. It wasn't Homes Under the Hammer. And the news comes on, and suddenly it's like, you know, gunmen on the loose in Sutton St James in Lincolnshire. We was like, what? Dad goes, did you ever get the feeling it was a good job we just kind of went in without sort of making too much protest? I said, yeah. I said, I've got that feeling right now. He goes, Christ. He said, I wonder who it is. I said, well, I don't know. I said, I wonder what they're doing. Anyway, he shot a policeman, basically. He didn't kill the policeman, you know, so he was still unable to prove that his aim was very good. He shot the policeman, and apparently the bullet, as it whizzed past, I'm laughing, but I guess it's not funny really, but I'm laughing. But as it whizzed past, it kind of sort of caught the side of his jaw, and it sort of shattered a couple of teeth and his jawbone and his cheekbone and sort of, you know, eye socket and sort of stuff like that. But it didn't actually kill the officer, but it did seriously injure him. Yeah, so he'd sort of, you know, decided to go mental. So, you know, on today, seeing all of that, what's outside, it's kind of like, well, you know, as another 10 years passed and now someone's gone mental again. We had a few weeks ago, we had, honestly, we could do with Bergerac or someone living here, because the other week I was walking back from the village to the house that I live in, and as I was sort of walking back, again there was a couple of free police cars and ambulances at a house, and it turns out that the man decided to commit suicide, but it would only commit suicide via stabbing himself, and he stabbed. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what's going around the village, right? He stabbed himself in the stomach and realised that he was going to bleed a lot, but probably wasn't going to die. So then he decided to stab himself in the chest and then the neck. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm thinking, you know, you know, what's kind of sort of happened today that you know, may have meant that we're on to another, you know, sort of thing. But you know, as I say, that didn't make the national news, not like the gunman loose in St James, and then you had all the locals coming out, you know, being interviewed by the local press. Oh, he was a lovely man, he was so friendly. I'm thinking, no, he wasn't. I was thinking, you know, how do you know he was friendly? Because, like I said, you know, for, you know, a good 20 years or more, you know, he was just sat in his house all day. Yeah. Apparently, well, according to his daughter, he just, and you know, obviously when I was sort of kind of dating her and that, you know, I used to go around there, and he would just, whenever I went there, he was just always sat in his same chair, you know. So I was kind of like, you know. But yeah, you had all of the people kind of coming out saying, oh, he was, you know, he kept himself to himself, he was a lovely man, he was so friendly, and oh, the door was always open, you can go around. Yeah, the door was always open because he was hoping he was going to blow your head off. But yeah, so as I say, but anyway, I've probably rabbited on for far too long in this video, and if there's anyone still watching, then you deserve a bloody medal, to be honest with you. But no, I really appreciate it. And as I say, I'm just going to finish this off now, and then next episode we're going to get we're going to do some more trees, and then after that, once we've got that done, I think the episode after that will be getting on towards spring. Hopefully the new ranch will be built by then, and they'll be ready for us to start shipping products and produce to them. But as I say, for now, I am going to end this episode here. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you ever so much for listening. As I say, the only reason I do these chatty videos is because I do get a lot of messages from a lot of people saying, you know, I really love listening to the stories, and you're just chatting away, and yeah, so hence the reason why I do it. But thanks ever so much for watching. I've really enjoyed having your company, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye for now.